disappointed by the fact that the game at the Cotton Bowl was canceled today. We're indoors in Detroit. No worry about that. Minnesota taking on Georgia Tech from Ford Field in Detroit. And we're ready to get this one rolling. Minnesota won the toss. They have elected to receive. So Georgia Tech wearing the blue uniforms. That's Sean Davis, redshirt junior, to kick off to Demetrius Douglas. And we are ready to go from Ford Field to Detroit. Great to have you with us on this day after Christmas. Sean Davis, a 24% touchback rate on the year. Douglas, a very dangerous returner.
Hey, he's taken 2 to the house this year.
And he will take a knee and bring it out to the 25. Brings out a Minnesota offense averaging just over 28 points per game this year. Yeah, right there on your screen, it's easy to see Daniel Faalele, who's 400 pounds. He's going to be blocking for Tanner Morgan tonight.
Yeah, Tanner Morgan is starting his 6th game. Zach Anixted started the first 7. He had a little injury problems, and they gave Morgan the reins. And, boy, he's just gotten better and better each week. I think he's a little bit more effective runner than Anixted, and very good in the RPO passing game, which is what this offense really relies on.
And as you saw, he's the only scholarship quarterback on the roster for Minnesota. Mohamed Ibrahim with the carry. He picks up about 3 yards up towards the 28-yard line. Ibrahim, who's a redshirt freshman.
And I like Ibrahim. I think that he is really a huge part of the resurgence of this Minnesota football team that won 2 out of their last 3 to get bowl eligible. And a big part of it was his fight from the running back position.
Now, Ibrahim has a chance to crack 1,000 rushing yards on the season of this game at 9:36 coming in, so he's at 9:39. Plenty of time to throw, and he hits in stride Rashad Bateman. That's a true freshman, and he's up to midfield. 21-yard gain.
Excuse me, Mark. That's the RPO I was talking about earlier. This is going to be on Tanner Morgan. He can either hand the ball off or pull it and make the throw. And he has a perfect read on the outside. Knows his man has one-on-one, and he finds the true freshman Bateman for a nice pickup.
Well, just a couple of plays into the game, Seth Green, who's a wide receiver, but also the Wildcat quarterback, number 17, comes in for Minnesota.
And he's a former quarterback, Mark. He can run the entire offense. Now, usually they'll run the quarterback running game with him.
And that's what they do here. And he gains about 6. He's 6'4", 240 pounds.
And he'll come at you, too. I mean, you know, they brought him in the spring and said, hey, we're not going to have you be a full-time quarterback. We're going to transition. You're going to play a little tight end. Then you're going to move to receiver. But there's ways we can get you the ball and make you a big part of this. And, boy, has he become that.
So after the gain of 6 for Seth Green and the Wildcat, they bring Tanner Morgan back out. Up at the top of your screen is Tyler Johnson, manned up. Malik Rivera there to make the stop on Ibrahim.
Malik Rivera is the leader of this defense. You know, he's a transfer from Wofford who actually played the same defense that they put in this year, they being the new defensive coordinator, Nate Woody. And he came over from Wofford, and he was one of the guys who was helping teach everybody else the defense, even though he was the new guy.
Yeah, grad transfer from Wofford. 3rd down and short here on the first drive of the game for the Gophers. 3rd and 1. Ibrahim has the first down. And he'll ramble for even more all the way up to the 35 in the arms of Tariq Carpenter. Needed 1, picked up about 6. First down, Minnesota.
And Ibrahim is a square-shouldered running back. And what I mean by that is he stays perpendicular to the line of scrimmage. Or actually, I take it back, parallel. His shoulders are parallel with the line of scrimmage. He doesn't get turned sideways. So when he comes at you, he's got full power, and he can go in any other direction. And that, to me, is the strength of his running ability.
1 yard shy at 950 now for the season for Ibrahim.
I'd like to take a shot down in this area of the field, especially in plus territory. We'll see.
No Tyler Johnson on the field right now with 3 receivers. And it's handed off by Morgan. Once again, Ibrahim bounces off the tackle. He's inside the 20, brought down at the 16 by Tariq Carpenter. 18-yard gain after breaking a tackle about 3 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think it's Dave Curry. He just runs him over. I mean, you had better ramp up and make that tackle. But Ibrahim will continue to keep those legs churning. Like I said earlier, he'll either run over you or around you. He doesn't really care.
Did a little both on that run right there. And he'll get a little breather. Already 4 carries for 32 yards. So he's having 8 yards per tote to start the game. And a first down for Minnesota. They're driving here on their first possession from the 16. Fresh in the game, Bryce Williams. Williams is a true freshman out of Sarasota. There's a lot of young players on the field tonight, especially for Minnesota.
Yeah, what is it, 58 freshmen. He's a redshirt true freshman on this Minnesota roster. PJ Fleck will quickly and proudly tell you how young they are.
Ibrahim right back into the game. 1 carry for Bryce Williams. And you see that, over 50% freshmen in this roster for Minnesota.
Most in the country.
Tyler Johnson in the slot up top. Have not targeted him yet on this drive. Ibrahim keeping it on the ground. Not much there that time for a couple. David Curry, linebacker, came up with his 42nd tackle of the season.
Yeah, the play was really made by Grant Mitchell, number 51, the linebacker. He came down from the edge. The tight end was coming across trying to block him. That was a whale of a collision right there.
They call Mitchell the heart of their defense.
He's a hustle tape regular, which they have a hustle tape, which basically at the last frame when the tackle's made, you freeze it, and who's on the film? And those guys are on the hustle tape.
Minnesota's run it 6 straight times, but it's 3rd and 7. Johnson in the slot up top, but looking near side towards the end zone. A lot of contact between Rashad Bateman and the defender. No flag. That was Trey Swilling. Both looking back for the football. Incomplete, 4th down.
Really good coverage by Swilling here. He cuts off the route, and he actually cuts off Bateman from where the football is. You see the ball's a little inside, but because of the good body position by Swilling, that forces the incompletion.
There's Emmett Carpenter. Has a chance to move into 2nd place all time points wise. 15 to 20 long at 53 this year. This 31-yarder is up and true. So the Gophers march down the field and settle for a field goal in the game's first possession. We'll see that Georgia Tech option offense when we come back to Detroit.
Do you know what the U of M does for you? From farms to breweries and orchards to markets, discover how the University of Minnesota is cultivating a new crop of Minnesota businesses.
Do you know what the U of M does for you? From hooves to hands and paws to possibilities, discover how the University of Minnesota is making medical advances for all Minnesotans.
Minnesota with a 31-yard field goal to start the scoring tonight after a 10-play drive. Of those 10 plays, 7 were running plays for the Gophers.
Yeah, they kind of did what Georgia Tech does. Kept it on the ground, ate up some time.
There is Wanye Thomas. He's returned a couple of kicks back for touchdown this year. Won a 100-yarder in their last game at Georgia.
He is explosive, and all he needs is a little seam. He hits that gas pedal, and it's strike up the band time.
Carpenter's kick is returnable. Wanye has it from the 5. Thomas hits the 20. Little stutter step. He's to the 25. 26 brought down there. Taquan Marshall in that option offense take the field for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and I've got to talk about Taquan and how he runs this offense. Watch, he's reading that end man on the edge of the line of scrimmage, but he gets his depth, and it changes the angle completely. Now he attacks him, and he forces a commitment so he can make the pitch. He's a master at running this option. And then watch him get his depth again on this one, and what that does is opens his vision. Now he can see the whole field, make this cutback, and get to the house. He uses his eyes. He's got very quick hands. He's an explosive runner, and he is well schooled in the arts of running this option.
Marshall, a senior, playing in his final game for the Ramblin' Wreck. He pitches running left. Quay Searcy hit hard and knocked down for virtually no gain. Maybe a yard that time as Thomas Barber brought him down.
I think Marshall can throw the football a little bit too. But it's not a strength, obviously, of this offense, and primarily because of the way the offensive line and the stances that they have to be in. It's almost impossible to pass block in that situation, and if you change your stance, you're going to tip off passes coming. So it's a difficult thing to do, but they will surprise you with it, and they usually average more yards per reception than most teams in the country.
Yeah, it's thrown 100 passes on the dot this year. It keeps here to the 28. We're about two. Jacob Huff and Thomas Barber again on the tackle. Huff, the defensive back for Minnesota. It's interesting to see how Minnesota's going to play this option tonight, Brett.
Yeah, and speaking with them and Joe Rossi, the new full-time, they had the interim tag removed defensive coordinator, said we got to totally change everything. We're going to be in a different defense. We're going to try to keep it simple, not have a ton of different looks, and just be good at what we're showing them. And right now, they're basically showing them a nine-man box.
On 3rd and 7, Marshall spun down. That was Boye Mafe, number 69, that got to him.
And it was Julian Huff, number 20, who comes on the blitz and ends up getting the pressure. He forces Marshall out of the pocket into the arms of Boye.
So a quick 3 and out for Georgia Tech on their first possession. And a pre-snap penalty for the Presley-Harvin punt.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 9, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Victor Alexander for moving early. That'll cost him 5 yards and back up Harvin a little more. Presley-Harvin, big kid, 6 feet, 245 pounds.
He could run a fake on you pretty good, huh?
End over end punt, and that hit
Looked like it hit the
a
defender.
Georgia Tech player.
Hit 28 right in the back of the head.
Yeah, that hit a Georgia Tech player. Now Tech has recovered, but it hit Tech.
Thomas, yeah, Wanye Thomas is the guy who was down there.
And they'll get this sorted out, the officials. Let's take a look. But it definitely looked like it hit him in the back.
Which would be where the ball would be spotted
exactly.
in 1st and 10 Minnesota. Yeah,
no
hit him
question.
right in the back, no doubt. So that's where the ball would be spotted, right about the 36, it looks like. Is where it should be.
I didn't think there was any question watching it live.
No, that's
what happened here.
Ball's dead right there. Actually, it did get him in the back of the head. Doink.
So it should be at about the 39, 38-yard line where they should spot this. Scott Campbell, the white hat tonight. This officiating crew.
Lots of eyes out there, and they're all trying to discuss what they saw and now where that football should be marked. I mean, it's pretty simple to go to the replay if they don't get it right. But
yeah, also where to spot it, they'll probably have to take a few seconds back on the clock.
But the looks that we have of what actually happened are very good. They'll be able to determine immediately if indeed they can't figure it out while they're down there kibitzing together.
Illegal touching by the kicking team. Minnesota will keep the ball. 1st down, the 48-yard line. Time
So
out on the
they
field.
add a 10-yard penalty onto that. Minnesota ball when we come back to Detroit.
The Quick Lane Bowl, brought to you by Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center, offering extraordinary service for routine maintenance. Quick Lane and PlayStation 4, the best place to play.
Well, it's called bowling. It combines throwing a football and bowling. And this is an annual event at the Quick Lane Bowl. Minnesota won it this year in sudden death.
Man, I have never folded, and I feel like I've been cheated.
Allison, tell me more about bowling.
Apparently the big new sport here in Michigan. Ray, I know you have Michigan roots like myself.
Yes.
I had never heard of it until I worked the Quick Lane Bowl, but it's blown up here in the Mitten. Apparently it started down in Indianapolis around the Indy 500, but their motto is born in Indy, raised in Detroit, and there's several leagues in the area. There's like 20 teams that play in one league. They get up to 100 for their super full that takes place at the Indy 500. And a good omen, guys, for the Gophers that they won the big match, because the team that wins the foaling match is 2-1 in the actual bowl game.
The precursor.
All comes down to the foaling.
Well, Minnesota takes over where the ball was recovered after the illegal touch at the 48-yard line of Georgia Tech. Going to throw on first down and just out of reach of Rashad Bateman.
And not a very good read that time, in my opinion, from Tanner Morgan. That's an RPO where he needs to hand that one off. There was double coverage on the receiver. And you'll get that from the young quarterbacks, and sometimes they'll even make the play. Morgan is exceptionally good at in-breaking routes, the even routes on the route tree. Everything that comes towards the inside, he just has a really good knack for that right now. And that's kind of where quarterbacks start. And then those outside breaking routes, that's the next level.
Morgan looking left, sets up a screen pass. They get in the hands of Tyler Johnson for the first time, but he is swarmed under by Desmond Branch, number 99, and others for Georgia Tech.
Boy, Branch looked like he jumped out of a tree and landed on that play. He took off from his pass rush, seeing that screen. Great change of direction and hustling, getting after that ball on the perimeter.
So a 3rd and long for Minnesota. They're 1 and 2 on 3rd down from their first drive. Desmond Branch, who originally started his playing career at New Mexico, his home state. Morgan, time to throw to the sideline, and a first down catch is made by the freshman Rashad Bateman, and he steps out of bounds at the 34, gain of 13.
Yeah, he beat Malik Rivera in coverage. He just ran him off. And once Rivera turned his hips, you see 36 on the right side of your screen, those hips get turned, and that's when Bateman makes his break, creating the separation.
Minnesota right back up to the line with a fresh set of downs just inside the 35 of Georgia Tech. Johnson now in the slot on the near side, handed off. Ibrahim turn to the corner, down the sideline, lowers his shoulder and runs into Lamont Simmons and picks up close to 10 right there.
Nice job of blocking on the edge on this one.
That's Simmons, who was trying to apply the tackle on Ibrahim, who's slow getting up. Lamont Simmons, a 5th-year senior from Raines High School in Jacksonville, Florida. While they attend to him, we'll step aside. Lamont Simmons off under his own power, headed to the injury tent. That right shoulder raise seemed to take the brunt of the blow from Ibrahim.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, and I've been on the bad end of those, and you know, usually it's a stinger is what'll happen. You see all the impact on the right shoulder there. He just clamps that whole area down and creates a numbing sensation. And I don't know for sure if that's what he's had, but that's what I have had many times on a hit like that.
It was an 11-yard gain for Ibrahim. Here's Seth Green back in at the Wildcat, and he'll carry straight ahead to the 18 for 6 yards.
Yeah, and they love having Seth Green in the ball game down in this area of the field. It puts it on defenses. When the quarterback runs with the ball, it's an extra hat to block, and that's why people do it. And Minnesota is particularly effective at it in this area of the field.
Greens, he looks like he got a little hitch there in his giddy-up getting off the field. Tanner Morgan returns for a 2nd down and 5 call. But inside the 20 again. And inside the 20 of Georgia Tech on their first possession and settled for a 31-yard field goal. Ibrahim stumbles forward for a yard or two in the arms of Victor Alexander.
Nice job, Alexander, staying home, closing down with the action, and then being there when the back cuts it back. Had great penetration initially from Desmond Branch, forcing that cutback right into the awaiting massive arms of Victor Alexander.
So 3rd down and 5.
Big blitz down for this Tech defense.
So they've converted 2 of 3 so far tonight, have the Gophers. You got Johnson up top. Morgan looks his way. He's going his way to the end zone for Johnson. Over the shoulder, got it. Touchdown, Minnesota. Great throw, great catch, and our first touchdown of the night belongs to Tyler Johnson.
Rolling on the
I
field,
can't even
it's
tell
a
you how
touchdown.
good this is, because he's going to use his back to create separation at the end of this route. He sees the ball. He knows where the defender is. Watch, he slows down a little bit to ward off the defender and create the room. And he just got past Askew for that touchdown. That was some good stuff by Johnson. And a great throw, too, up top, giving him a chance.
So that gives Tyler Johnson 11 touchdown catches this season and gives him the single season record. He was tied with Ron Johnson and Omar Douglas with 10 touchdown catches in a single season. But Tyler Johnson, who may set several single season Minnesota receiving marks tonight, has just taken one all to himself.
Yeah, and he hasn't said whether or not he's going to declare to the NFL draft, but you know, I think he's a guy who might want to consider that. Here he is at the top of the screen as we take another look at this, and he's going to go just basically to the outside, and he turns Askew around right on the get off, and that's what created this initial separation. Then the use of his body to ward that thing off, that was second level stuff that you just can't teach.
So 2 catches tonight for him, giving him 76 on the season. 7-play, 52-yard drive for Minnesota that began with that illegal touching on the punt that gave him great starting field position just across midfield on the plus side of the field for the Gophers. And the 18-yard touchdown catch for Johnson. Touchback, it's coming out. Well, coming up at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, our Boxing Day Bowl. What was originally a triple-header, it's capped off by Cal and TCU in the Cheez-It Bowl at Chase Field in Arizona, which is home of Major League Baseball's Diamondbacks. Gold Bears looking to win 8 games for only the second time in 8 years. And Gary Patterson, head coach of the Horned Frogs, has never lost to a Pac-12 team. You can also watch this on the ESPN app. Unfortunately, the start of our triple-header got shortened at the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah,
the weather.
Lightning down there.
Dallas.
Who would have thought that this time of year?
Well, Georgia Tech, this is only their 4th play of the game, and Taquan Marshall was hit right near the line of scrimmage and gang tackled. Really controlling tempo and time of possession is Georgia Tech's MO, but It's been Minnesota that's done that to start this game.
And that's where this Tech offense has to do something right now, because their defense has been on the field for most of this ball game thus far. 8 minutes and 29 seconds of possession for Minnesota, and you're only 2 minutes and 17 seconds for this Tech offense. They need to get their initial first down.
Yeah, they went 3 and out their first possession. Marshall coming near side. He's going to keep it. And he's to the 27. Only picks up about a yard. Thomas Barber there to get him. Well, when we talked to Minnesota, they mentioned Jacob Huff and Thomas Barber are going to be key for stopping the option, and they have so far.
Yeah, they're putting those guys in the right spots. This is a spin option. He's going to come back the other way, and I thought he should have pitched the football right there. I thought that the corner, Williamson, committed a little too close to the quarterback. I was surprised he didn't flip it out there.
It's Thomas Barber looking at this option offense. Georgia Tech a 3rd and 7, under 3 minutes to go first quarter. Marshall to throw, but he's sacked. Julian Huff, the brother of Jacob Huff, with the sack and a loss of 5, and another quick 3 and out for the second Georgia Tech possession of the game.
Yeah, and Julian Huff's starting because Blake Cashman decided not to play this game in order to get ready for the NFL draft, if he even gets drafted. But nonetheless, it gives Huff a great opportunity. You see him, he's basically green dog in this deal. He did not have any specific coverage responsibility, so he saw the quarterback drop back. It opened up. He went and got some.
And you mentioned Blake Cashman, who leads their defense in tackles as well as tackles for loss. And Harvin shanked this one off to the right side. And Minnesota's going to have great starting field possession again.
Fleck dropped that ball over there. P.J. Fleck, a receiver back in his day, wasn't able to make the catch on the sideline.
This is only going to be about a 12-yard punt.
That's one of them ankle jobs. He knew right away. You hit it off your ankle, that's probably not going to be a good kick.
So the starting field position is the 35 of Georgia Tech. Vermont Simmons, Allison, do you have more on his status?
Yeah, guys, right now they're calling it an upper body injury and saying he is questionable to return to the game.
Allison, thanks for that. Minnesota, 13 of their 16 plays in this game have come in Georgia Tech territory. So here's a 14th. And on first down, lots of time. Morgan going down the sideline near the pylon. In and out of the hands of Rashad Bateman, but a flag out at the 6. Trey Swilling, number 3, had the coverage.
Did Bateman touch that ball first? Because he went out of bounds on his own, and that would be an illegal touch if he's the one that touched it first on the pass. Tried to run him on a wheel route and get him up the edge, and almost had it. But you see the official without a hat. He threw the hat to mark where the receiver went out of bounds. Now, if he's pushed out of bounds, there'll be no hat because that's a different
There's
deal.
no foul for pass interference. The receiver stepped out of bounds on his own. Result of the play is an incomplete pass. Second down.
There we go.
So there was a second part to that, but it all stemmed from what you initially were mentioning.
And to me, is whoever touches the ball last, because that receiver went out of bounds on his own, then he cannot be the first one to touch the football when he comes back in. See it right up there. It's kind of hard to see, but he did step out. I didn't see where there would have been a pass interference anyway. Just an incompletion.
Ibrahim trying to break another tackle. He's to the 33. Allison with more on this Georgia Tech defense.
Yeah, keep an eye on the defensive line. We've seen Desmond Branch get through a few times. They need more of that. They've got to use their speed off of the edge against Minnesota's offensive tackles. Jerome Ray's their defensive line coach, really harping on that ton, and they've got to find a way to beat them off the edge with speed and get in the backfield, and reminding them when Seth Green is in there at Wildcat that that's a longer developing play, but they still have to find a way to get in the backfield and get after him as well.
And a big third down play here. Georgia Tech trying to get their offense on the field. They haven't been on the field for much here in this first quarter. And Morgan on third down and long has a chance to run for it and will have the first down. It looks like he got just enough at the 25 to extend the drive. He does. First down, Gophers.
Outstanding, I guess, escape by Morgan. And this has been one of the problems in talking to Kurt Shiraka, the offensive coordinator for Minnesota. He says our young quarterbacks are getting trapped back in the pocket, and they've got to learn how to escape better. And Morgan did a great job of it on that one.
So Morgan got just enough at the end of that run for the first down. As we're inside the last minute of the first quarter. Got Johnson up top again. Handoff, Ibrahim. Still in that pile. It went left and it went right. Henri St. Amour, number 94, up and out on the tackle for Georgia Tech in a 4-yard gain.
St. Amour did a nice little spin move and spun himself right into that tackle. And talking to Nate Woody, he said that St. Amour is a guy that has incredible speed, which he's able to translate into power. Not everybody can do that, but this guy can.
Minnesota is going to elect not to snap the ball, and that's going to take us to the end of the first quarter. Georgia Tech's offense, 2 3-and-outs. They ran 6 plays. We're on the field for only a little over 3 minutes of this first quarter. And P.J. Fleck's is going to race to the other side of the field. It's a great start for his team. The 31-yard field goal by Carpenter and that touchdown catch of 18 yards for Tyler Johnson. All Gophers in quarter number 1 from Detroit. Welcome back to the 2018 Quick Lane Bowl, presented by Quick Lane as part of Capital One. Bowl Mania, sun setting in Detroit. A look from the Canadian side of the river across to downtown Detroit. 6-6 Minnesota leading 7-5 Georgia Tech. 10-0. We begin the second quarter. The second down and 6 for Minnesota just outside the 20 of Tech. And here's Ibrahim running right. Man, when he gets ahead of Steve going, that man is a runaway locomotive. He's down to the 12, first down.
And he got a really nice crackback block from his wide receiver to the top. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Boom, right on the left side of your screen. And those are fun blocks. Not to catch anyway, but you can get a guy that ain't expecting. That's always a fun time.
Ibrahim, 10 rushes, 58 yards. And a first down from the 13. Ibrahim again off left tackle. And just enough. David Curry got him by the ankles, or would have been even more than that 4-yard gain.
Yeah, and that's that caboose play that they like to run, where the whole line will go one way, and then the back ends up going at the very end, being basically the caboose of this little train they got rolling. And defenses, when the line goes sideways, defenses go sideways, and the back keeps his shoulder square. That's tough to tackle him.
That's the Georgia Tech 9. Minnesota already leading 10-0. Trying to add on more. Ibrahim powers his way inside the 5 to the 4. He's close to another first down, where he's met by Malik Rivera, and some pushing and shoving at the end of that play, and Rivera is down.
A 4-yard gain brings up 3rd and 2.
They're going to spot him down, by the way, outside the 5 as Rivera to his feet.
Well, they got sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
That's the grad transfer we were talking about from Wofford.
The brains of the outfit back there.
Yeah.
The guy who makes all the calls, adjustments, and he was quite an interesting character. We got to talk to him, and this is a guy you're going to hear about, I think. He's got a lot going on.
4 tackles for Rivera so far tonight. So they're about, it's a short 2, but some movement is going to add on to that.
Yeah, it was the right side of the line, basically. Georgia Tech stemmed their defensive nose tackle. They moved him, and that forced Minnesota to move a little bit.
First penalty against the Gophers tonight. Assuming it's going to go that way.
On that play, they had a great block by the true freshman tackle. 6'9", 400 pounds.
Ball start, number 51. Offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
On that previous play before the false start, a great block by Faalele, who took over about 5 weeks ago at that starting right tackle position and has really solidified things. But I couldn't take my eyes off of him watching the film because he's so much bigger. He's 6'9", huge, 400 pounds, and when he gets a hold of you, forget about it.
Forget about it. That's right. 3rd down and 7. So the line to gain right near the 3. Morgan under pressure, breaks the tackle, takes off, and he's brought down shy of the line to gain at the 9-yard line by Victor Alexander.
St. Amour had him in the backfield, and Tanner Morgan's a strong dude now. He can shake you, and that's exactly what he did, because you see the arm over the breakthrough, and then couldn't quite wrap him up, and give Tanner Morgan all the credit showing the strength there.
27-yard field goal attempt. Carpenter hit from 31 in the first quarter. This one pretty well lined up middle of the field for the 5th-year senior from Green Bay, and he knocks that one up and through. But really kind of a win for Georgia Tech to keep him out of the end zone. Early in this second quarter, Minnesota out to a 13-0 lead on Georgia Tech.
ESPN celebrating 150 years of college football.
Back in Detroit, 13-0. Minnesota leading Georgia Tech. With still 11:57 to play in this second quarter.
Georgia Tech with only 3 yards of offense in 2 series, 2 3-and-outs. That's all they've had the football.
And Minnesota's run 24 plays. As you mentioned, for 141 yards, they have 8 first downs. Georgia Tech, 6 plays, 2 3-and-outs for a total of 3 yards, no first downs. Wanye Thomas there on the right. Back to receive this Emmett Carpenter kick, and it is returnable from the 5 for Thomas. Had a little Bit of an issue with it, and he is going to be brought down back at the 8-yard line. So poor starting field position for Georgia Tech. That's going to bring out the Minnesota defense.
There's a flag back. It looked like an illegal kickoff operation to me from from Minnesota. They looped a couple guys around, and they might have gotten too deep. Or it was simply offsides, one or the other, but the official threw the ball, or threw the flag.
Offsides, number 20, kicking team, 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
And Wanye Thomas, the returner, is down and being attended to at the 10-yard line.
And that's the first penalty of the day for Minnesota, Mark. And that's one thing you got to give P.J. Fleck a lot of credit for. I'm sorry, second penalty of the day, but they have really cleaned things up. They've basically cut their penalty output in half since he's taken over, and that really helps your football team.
Yeah, we saw P.J. Fleck there, and over the last couple of weeks, he's had a bit of an acrimonious exchange with the local media in the Twin Cities. There has been reports in the media in Minnesota that there would be 6 to as many as 8 suspended players in this game for Minnesota, which P.J. Fleck vehemently denied. Now, he never really mentioned leading into this game that there would be suspended players or who they would be. Now, we got a little bit of clarity just prior to kickoff tonight. We were told that Kamal Martin, who was one of the starters at linebacker on defense, did not make the trip. Also, O.J. Smith, one of the defensive tackles, and Jamal Teague, a defensive tackle, are here but not in uniform. We mentioned Blake Cashman, who said he's settling, not playing in this game, as well as the left tackle Donnell Green, to get ready for the NFL draft. But the 3 at the bottom of your screen are the ones that are not playing tonight. We're not saying they're suspended.
Yeah, because we haven't been told.
Yeah, haven't been told. We haven't had that.
We've asked.
That terminology used, even though we've asked. So not suspended, not playing. So it's been a kind of an odd few couple of weeks trying to settle that out, but we seem to have a little bit of clarity, at least knowing who's not playing tonight for Minnesota. So after Thomas was shaken up, the return's going to come all the way out past the 25-yard line. Jalen Askew on the kick return instead of the injured Wanye Thomas. Well, P.J. Fleck's team right now with a 13-0 lead. And their defense has...
They have not missed any of those 4 guys who are not here, I can tell you that.
They have not. They have been on point against this Georgia Tech option offense. So this is possession number 3 for Georgia Tech. Marshall keeping, and he gets maybe 2 yards to the 31.
Really nice play by Julian Huff, coming up, taking on a block, using that momentum from the impact on that blocker to basically pinball himself or carry himself into the back. Watch this linebacker, number 20 to the right is the one who makes this play. Watch him come up, bing, boom. There's a little pinball in there making it happen.
We were just highlighting his brother, Jacob,
yeah,
just to make sure all the Huffs were identified on that play.
Identical twins.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone gets them confused.
Marshall gives it this time. Jordan Mason with his first carry. Are we going to start to see what we expected to see? We really haven't seen this option offense yet for Georgia Tech.
No, in fact, the previous play to that last one is the first time they actually ran the triple option. And then the most recent play, their longest play of the day, 5 yards, they handed it to the fullback. Now, I've always said, and Paul Johnson will back me up on this, you better pay attention to the fullback against an option team, because at some point, if you don't, he's going to get you.
Can they convert on 3rd down and 2? Mason actually kept Marshall down the sideline across midfield. And there's that option we were talking about, run at a much higher efficiency in a 19-yard run for the quarterback, but now he's slow getting up.
And very effectively run this particular triple option. You're going to see a fake to the fullback, the ride, and a lot of guys jump on that. And then he gets to the edge, gets a block, squeezes through. Pitchman was taken, but he found the seam, and that's what they've really relied on, is the quarterback position, making plays with the ball in their hands, and they've gotten that out of both Taquan Marshall and Tobias Oliver, the backup, who we will see at some point this afternoon.
So Marshall has gone over 850 rushing yards now on the season, with 23 rushing yards, 19 on that last carry. And before the snap, a timeout is called by Georgia Tech.
Game, timeout, Georgia Tech.
So Tech did get the timeout, and will step aside as well.
Timeout on the field.
We're one Minnesota. And when you're starting to see how this whole thing can really work in this whole Twin Cities area, that's what we're talking about. But our fans were unbelievable today. That's the best college football environment I've ever played in as a head football coach.
So let me go deep to Bateman. He's up there. Got it. Down the sideline. Way go. 30, 20, 10. The place has gone nuclear. Touchdown.
Well, Jeff Collins hired as the new Georgia Tech head coach on December 7th after a couple of seasons as the head coach at Temple. Of course, great defensive coordinator at Florida, Mississippi State, and spent a couple of stints at Georgia Tech as an assistant. And he's down on the field on the sideline with Allison.
Thank you very much, and I'm joined by him now. Jeff, when you were hired here at Georgia Tech, you said this was your dream job. Why?
I'm from Atlanta. We've had 2 stints here, my wife and I. One with George O'Leary, one with Chan Gailey. Great academic institution right in the heart of Atlanta. It's a dream come true.
And you were hired right before the early signing period. So how did you try and approach that with new recruits?
Yeah, that was tough. Trying to get 9 days, squeezed in and sell our brand and the vision for the future. Going to a more NFL pro-style based offense, defense, special teams. But the reception was great. A lot of great relationships with high school coaches in the area that has helped the transition a lot.
You mentioned the brand and how you'll see more of an NFL style on offense. The last 11 years, you think Georgia Tech offense, you think triple option. How quickly can you make that adjustment and that change to what you want to do offensively?
Yeah, well, we signed 2 tight ends in the early signing period, and that was huge for us. And just get the roster management piece, see what we have coming back, and apply what we're going to do in the offense.
Well, you're in position to take your dream job because of a great year at Temple. An 8-4 season. They're playing tomorrow in the Independence Bowl against Duke. What do you want those guys to know?
Yeah, I just truly love those guys. I had a great 2 years with them. The way they work, the way they play, great culture that exists there in Philadelphia. And they're playing tomorrow. There's not going to be a bigger fan in college football pulling for the Temple Owls than me and my wife will.
How weird will it be to watch that game?
Yeah, it'll be tough, but they're great guys, and just the coaching staff and everybody associated with it, I wish them nothing but the best.
Jeff, thank you so much. Best of luck going forward with Georgia Tech. Thank you for the time. Mark?
Allison, thanks. Also thanks to Coach Collins. Ed Foley, by the way, is the interim head coach. He's going to coach for Temple tomorrow there in Shreveport. A 4th down upcoming here for Georgia Tech. Not a surprise they're going to go for it here.
Nah, they love to go for it in these situations around this area. It's just a little bit out of the kicker's range. So this is their chance to really, I think, get back in this ball game. They get a touchdown on this drive. And, we're talking about a 6-point differential here on a game where you've been shellacked pretty much for a quarter and a half.
A 4th and 2. This is the 7th play of the drive. They only had a total of 6 plays their first 2 drives, a couple of 3 and outs. And they get a timeout called by Georgia Tech before the snap.
Timeout. Georgia Tech, 2nd of the half. Timeout on the field.
So head coach Paul Johnson saw something he didn't like pre-snap, and they used their 2nd timeout. Jeff Collins, his job gets even bigger tomorrow. Almost midway through the 2nd quarter, 13-0 Minnesota leading Georgia Tech in the Quick Lane Bowl from Detroit. Georgia Tech going for it on 4th down and 2. They called a timeout. Just prior to the snap on 4th down. And they get the 1st down and more of the run. Takes it inside the 30.
And they run right behind what Paul Johnson calls the best player on their offense, number 75, the left guard, Parker Brown. Look at him get on that hip and destroy the nose tackle more, creating the room for that 1st down. They love running behind this guy. I like watching him. He's fun to watch because he is a hunter. He's out there and he'll go till the echo of the whistle. And if you don't have your head on a swivel, you might be peering out an ear hole.
You see, first team all ACC this year. Here's Marshall looking to throw on 1st down. Double covered, and that ball's going to land incomplete. The intended receiver, Jalen Camp, but Minnesota was all over that defensively.
I'm going to say that one slipped out of Taquan's hand. Because
and it might be good that it did.
Yeah, because he was throwing it in double coverage. In fact, he might have just thrown it to an open spot in the field, because that was not even close to what he's capable of.
That was the first pass attempt of the game for Georgia Tech. To the 14, that's Parker Braun. One of the coaches they played against this year, Georgia Tech, described him as a bowling ball made of butcher knives.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Marshall in big trouble, and he's going to be sacked all the way back at the 39. That is Winston Delanabadere with the sack and a loss of 8.
This is a counter OT type play. It's something you don't often see. You're going to have both guard and tackle pull from one side, and this is just another way that they get the ball in the quarterback's hands with a little gap blocking. So it's a counter OT, but I'll tell you who sniffed it out was Julian Huff. He sniffed and snuffed it.
Both brothers have played a really nice game tonight.
The last time together as Golden Gophers.
That was ruled a run, not a sack. But nonetheless, a loss of 8, and more heat being put on by Delanabadere. He gets rid of it, and Marshall throws it away.
No foul for intentional grounding. Quarterback was out of the pocket. Ball across the line of scrimmage.
Fourth down.
And this was a perfect example of how this Georgia Tech offense will struggle once it gets behind the chains. 3rd and long, problematic. 4th and long, not going to happen. They're going to have to punt this football now. That's been the issue for the most part, is the pass blocking by this football team. So when they pass, they have to roll out or play action you to have any success.
Presley Harvin to punt. He had just a 12-yard boot his last time as he shanked one, but that one trying to angle it. Does take a little bit of a Minnesota roll, but a nice job by Harvin to pin him in inside the 15. Minnesota will take over with 6:18 to play in the half, already leading this game 13-0. It's a Minnesota team that didn't start the season all that well. Actually, it started very well at 3-0, but then lost 5 of their next 6 games. But beat Wisconsin, the final game of the regular season, to become bowl eligible. Their first win since 2003 over Wisconsin. Their first in Madison since 1994, and they got Paul Bunyan's axe back for the first time in a very long time.
Well, and they physically beat up Wisconsin in that ball game. I was shocked. I'm like, wow, this is a good football team playing out here. And they've continued that pretty much into this one.
A lot of it on the ground tonight for Mohamed Ibrahim. Jalen Johnson trips him up after a 3-yard gain. Ibrahim closing in on 70 yards rushing here in the first half.
I haven't seen a lot of explosive plays in this ball game, and I'm going to give credit to both these defenses in that regard. They're playing well on defense.
Ibrahim straight up the middle. He is spun down right near the marker by Malik Rivera. 7-yard gain. It is enough for a first down.
And Rivera, who was playing in a 2-deep initially, snuck up right before the snap to add as another hat in the box, and he was unblocked and made the tackle. Unfortunately, it was a first down.
9th first down of the game for Minnesota. Again, Georgia Tech has only 2, which came on their last possession. Ibrahim running right, turns that corner, lowers the shoulder, and he's going to have another first down after an 11-yard run. Jalen Askew is the one that took the punishment on that tackle attempt.
And watch the right tackle, Falele here on this one. He's going to get the edge. He's moving 400 pounds, and he still is able to hook the defensive end and force him inside. That's pretty good athleticism for the big man.
Easy for you to say.
Not really.
Only his, second year playing football. Guy from Australia originally. Playing American football, we signify that because there was Aussie rules football.
Right, that's what he played up until his junior year when he moved to the States.
Went to the IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. Ibrahim stopped just short of the 40 by Victor Alexander.
Fa'alele did not even play as a junior. He only practiced with the team.
And IMG.
Yes, in high school, trying to get him acclimated to the game. And then they put him out the next year, and they're like, man, maybe we should put him out there last year because dude's pretty good, and he's not small.
They call him freakishly strong, and the guy's 400 pounds. He's mammoth, 6'9". Went to the sideline by Tanner Morgan. This is a run for Jonathan Femi Cole. He had been in earlier in the game. He gets his first carry. There's a little extra pushing and shoving in there. Tariq Carpenter.
Desmond Branch ain't taking none of that, it looks like. Actually, that's Antoine Owens, 89, not 99. Branch was getting involved in it as well.
Comes a 3rd down and 5 for the Gophers. We're 4 of 6 on 3rd down tonight.
Big opportunity for the Tech defense here.
With the clock winding, just a little over 3 minutes to go in the first half. 12 straight runs for Minnesota.
And they ran out of time. They had to take a timeout.
Timeout, Minnesota. First of the half, 30 seconds in length.
So Minnesota uses their first timeout. And we'll step aside as well with 3:06 to play in the half.
Chris Cotter in studio. Coming up with the Mercedes-Benz halftime report. Emmanuel Acho and Trevor Maddich will join me. Clemson fans are dealing with the fact that they've got a couple of players who are suspended. We'll talk to or we'll hear from Clemson coaches and players. Also, Oregon fans are happy they get their quarterback back for another year. And an update on LeBron's MRI, which came in today after his injury yesterday. It's all coming up. Mercedes-Benz halftime report, guys.
Look forward to that. Thank you, Chris. We have 3:03 to play. 3:06, that is, in this first half. And a 3rd and 5 here for the Gophers, who dominated this first half with a 13-0 lead. And the run is a first down run. Ibrahim, who was down, he marked down at the 48. Wrapped up by Malik Rivera in an 8-yard run.
Georgia Tech gambled, and they blitzed the inside linebacker on this one. Unfortunately, they blitz him to the wrong hole, so there's nobody left once they break through the initial line of scrimmage. You see, a linebacker's gone because he blitzed, and now it just comes all the way to the safety.
Ibrahim has 99 rushing yards now in the first half. And Minnesota's the team that's been really getting it done on the ground. They do have the touchdown catch for Tyler Johnson of 18 yards in the first quarter. Now Morgan going to go to the air, and he's going deep. An over-the-shoulder attempt by Rashad Bateman, incomplete inside the 10. And coverage there for 33, Jalen Askew.
Pretty nice deep ball thrown there from Tanner Morgan. Had a chance anyway, but good coverage by Askew to force the receiver to get too close to the sidelines. I didn't even know had he caught it, he'd have been able to be in bounds. But watch the block on this last play by Fa'alele. Just dominating his man. You remember when you were a little kid and your dad would put his hand on your head and you'd swing at him and you couldn't even reach him?
And that's Desmond Branch, who's 270 pounds. It's not like he's a small man or anything.
Well, he doesn't often get outweighed by $130.
Ibrahim. Tackled by David Curry. Ibrahim now over 100 yards rushing here in the first half. Fa'alele. It's going to be interesting to watch his career.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how he develops. You know, in watching him some of the early games, because this is just his 6th start, he was a little bit tentative, stopped his feet sometimes, and then as he plays and gets acclimated, man, once he realizes what he's capable of, look out.
3rd and 6, clock running under 2 minutes to go in this first half from Detroit. The quick lane bowl. Play fake, pass, did he thread it? Incomplete. That was Tyler Johnson, and then a little bit of extracurricular after the play again. Just the third time they've targeted Tyler Johnson tonight. He has a couple of catches and the touchdown catch in the first quarter.
Carpenter made a really good play on that.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 36, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. That's number 36's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul for the game.
Been a bit of a frustrating first half for the grad transfer from Wofford, Malik Rivera.
Yeah, he just got himself a little bit too hyped up. I mean, here's the play, and he's going to kind of come over the top, almost knock it loose, but then he wants to tell somebody about it. And I don't know that he intended to push Tyler Johnson. I think he stumbled when he was getting up, but you just can't do that kind of thing.
The second penalty against Georgia Tech, but a costly one puts Minnesota to 32 and a first down. Morgan to the end zone, looking for Johnson. Incomplete. Again, the coverage, Jalen Askew. So we go right back in Tyler Johnson's direction.
And Askew, they list him at 5'11". I'm not buying that necessarily. But he's back here and he set up a double move and he's just on it. But I think he stopped. Had he gotten his, and he tripped a little bit. But had he gotten his feet gathered, he had a chance to go up and get that one.
Fourth straight incomplete pass to Tanner Morgan.
A couple of deep shots, though.
Ibrahim for 2 yards to the 30 into the arms of Brant Mitchell.
Very disciplined by Mitchell, just holding his water, leveraging the football, stand behind it, and then when that cutback comes, boom, you're right where you need to be, and you make a play.
Clock continuing to roll. Minnesota has a couple of timeouts if needed. 12th play of this drive for the Gophers. Morgan pulls it. Wasn't quite able to get away. He almost did. Jalen Johnson got the ankles, and just as he was getting away, brought him down.
Yeah, second sack of the season for Jalen Johnson, just coming off the edge. And this is just basically what you call a nickel blitz, where he's just going to come off the edge. He sees and reads. Because he was far enough away, he was able to see that the ball didn't get handed off.
Last of the half, full timeout.
So Georgia Tech uses their final timeout with 23 seconds left and a 4th and 14 upcoming. We'll see if Minnesota wants to attempt a long field goal here at the end of the half. Let's take a look at the hot topics around college football, brought to you by Outback Steakhouse. Nick Saban against Heisman winners.
Not good.
Well, the one time he won when he was at LSU, they beat Oklahoma and Jason White, who was the Heisman winner. The suspension for the Clemson players includes first-team All-ACC defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence. In Alabama, starting left guard Deontay Brown and a couple others will not make the trip.
It's always scary around the bowl time because you don't have those kids, you know, they're not going to school every day. They're out of their usual deal, and things can happen. That I know.
Oh, yes?
It's not getting all that.
That's with 23 seconds left in the half.
We don't have near enough time.
No. Emmett Carpenter, whose long this year is 53 yards. This is in that same range. This would be a 54-yarder off the right hash.
He's got the leg to get it there.
23 seconds to play in the half. It had the distance, but went left. No good. Allison has more on the 50-year senior kicker, Emmett Carpenter.
Yeah, talk about the real meaning of the Christmas season. Emmett Carpenter gets it. He's befriended 5-year-old Jace Trenton. He's had 10 operations dealing with congenital issues at the University of Minnesota Masonic Children's Hospital. Emmett met him there. The two become good friends. That's the jersey that he gifted him for Christmas. But it's not just Jace that Emmett is helping out. He's continuing a tradition that started with punter Peter Mortel in 2014 called a Very Specialist Christmas. It started after the bowl game when Mortel used his bowl gift card to buy gifts for children staying at the St. Joseph's Home for Children in Minneapolis. Now Carpenter is continuing the tradition with the goal of $40,000 to buy gifts for kids. He said, I'll always be a Gopher, but I really wanted to end my career with the bang of keeping this fun going.
Way to play it forward, Emmett. Allison, thanks very much. That's all terrific. Nice work.
Need more guys doing that kind of thing.
It's a 19-yard run for Jaquan Marshall. With just 11 seconds here left in the half. A first down at the 45 for Georgia Tech. What can this offense do with just 11 seconds remaining? Marshall looking to put it in the air, and he fires to the near side. Catch is made. Stepping out of bounds at the 32 is Jalen Camp. His 9th catch of the year.
How about that for some execution in the passing game for Paul Johnson's offense? Like to roll him out to the edge, and that will give Marshall time. And as I stated previously, give him time, he can make some throws. I mean, that was a pretty nice one right there.
Wesley Wells' longest field goal of the year is 48 yards, but now you're only down to 5 seconds anyway here. Is this just a take a shot to the end zone?
It's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing else you can do here and expect success. They probably roll to the left. They got extra bodies that way.
Throws it quickly. Well, he steps out.
He did enough time.
At the 27, 5-yard gain. And they're going to try it. Trying to get some points. Wesley Wells coming out. Or is he?
That is one of the fastest 2-second plays I've ever seen. that was only 2 seconds.
So Wells out of the hold of Brad Stewart. 44 yards from the right hash to try to get Georgia Tech on the board to end the first half in Detroit.
Give him a little lift heading in.
That is up. That is a big lift for Georgia Tech to get on the board with the 44-yard field goal to end the half.
Wesley Wells getting it done, and he kind of hooked it in. It looked like it was hanging out to the right, and then boom, put that little English on it, leaned into it. So here we go, boys. Well done.
Wells hasn't missed a field goal attempt this year. 9 for 9. Head coach Jeff Collins says, hey, they're on the board. So it's a 13-3 Minnesota lead at the intermission. And Tech's going to get the ball to start the second half. Let's send you to the halftime report. Chris, Trevor, Emmanuel.
Don't kid with COVID. mHealth Fairview wants you to know that what you do today will affect your family and our community tomorrow. Social distancing helps you avoid contact with those who may be infected with the virus. What can you do? Steer clear of crowds of 10 or more people. Keep a distance of 6 feet between you and others in public spaces. And if possible, work from home. Wash your hands, avoid big groups. Stay home, don't go out. We've all got to do our part.
We welcome you back to the Quick Lane Bowl, presented by Quick Lane as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. Look at the Renaissance Center here in downtown Detroit. We're about ready to start the second half in this Big Ten ACC battle. It's the Big Ten team, Minnesota, with the 13-3 lead over Georgia Tech. Great to have you with us from Detroit on this day after Christmas, along with Allison Williams down on the field and Ray Bitley. I'm Mark Neely. Ray, we expected in the first half maybe to see a precise option offense from Georgia Tech, and for Minnesota, Tyler Johnson dominating. We didn't really get all that in the first half.
No, we didn't, and it's hard to get it going when you go 3 and out 2 times in the first quarter, and that's all you get. Yeah. But what they started to do when they did move the ball was get the fullback involved, and I think that was what was missing right from the beginning, and I look for that here in the second half.
Well, Mohamed Ibrahim was effective on the ground for Minnesota in that first half.
Yeah, he was extremely effective, did a great job.
We take a look at tonight's PlayStation Player Index, and Ibrahim was the guy in the first half.
Yeah, 105 yards, and a lot of those were after contact. He was able to break many tackles and keep digging those legs. To me, he's been the star of this ballgame thus far, just steady as he goes.
And here we go into half number 2 from Ford Field. And Thomas with the fair catch. It'll come out to the 25. What was on Coach Paul Johnson's mind, Allison?
Well, Mark, the biggest concern for Paul Johnson and this offense is that they haven't had the ball a whole lot. He said we had a couple of poor possessions to start the game, and then we never really got it back. Minnesota doubled them up on time of possession. possession. So that's his number one concern, is just getting the ball and then doing something with it, which comes down to execution. He said he feels like his team started to get something going, some rhythm established late in the second half. It'll be key for them to do that here early in the second half.
Yeah, definitely so. Got the field goal to end the half to get some points. So important to see how they start the second half here. And there's the carry coming to the near side, brought down at the 30-yard line by Jacob Huff is the quarterback Marshall.
Yeah, and they did go right back to involving the fullback like I was talking about, Mark, and they didn't give it to him, but they did pick up 5 yards, and they were not ever really ahead of schedule in terms of the chains. And this offense kind of feeds off of that. They need little bites, you know. Give me 4, give me 5, give me 6, 3, 4 again. That kind of momentum and push is what they like to do.
This time it's the fullback Jerry Howard, but he is met by a wall of Gophers, including Gary Moore.
Yeah, Gary Moore had a nice, strong close to the season, and he had a really nice, strong close to that play. Came down the line, and his job on that one was no doubt fullback. And you know, you play an option team and you get assignments where, okay, I got fullback on this call, I'll take quarterback on that call, that kind of thing. You've got to stay with your assignment, and Minnesota's done a really nice job of maintaining discipline.
So this first possession of the second half, and attack a 3rd and 5, and kept breaking a tackle. There goes Marshall at the backside. He'll get the first down.
That's what Marshall can do. He made that play pretty much by himself. First of all, pulling it out and then staying alive and breaking this tackle. I mean, he's been in the backfield. You know, Gary Moore had him again, but slipped down, and that is why Taquan Marshall has been so effective in this offense.
See the numbers for Taquan Marshall, the senior out of Hamilton, Georgia, playing his final game for Georgia Tech. Stop at 40, close to the 40, Jerry Howard.
And that was not option at all. That was a little trap play where they brought around the guard to try to lead the way. But the key to that, to me, was the fullback is still involved. And that's where the whole option starts. The fullback. That's that first one that can hit you. And if you don't get condition of defense that fullback's coming, he's coming, then they're going to be all over the place on you. You've got to make them respect that fullback first.
Here's the pitch coming to the near side and carry. Clinton Lynch turning that corner to the 43-yard line. Haven't seen a lot of Clinton Lynch tonight, who's been a 3-year starter in that option offense.
And that is the first time that they pitched the ball in this option offense today. And that tells you something right there. They just have not been being who they are up to this point.
Yeah, they had only 3 yards in the first quarter of total offense. Their first 2 possessions were each 3 and out. They're now 2 of 6 on 3rd down tonight. 3rd and 3, Marshall keeping, able to get rid of it at the last moment, but Quay Searcy right into the arms of Keandre Thomas.
I thought he should have given the ball to the fullback. And if you look at that fullback, he got tackled, but he was pretty close to getting the way it needed to go. Great defense by Minnesota. Give them credit. They had guys at every level and more than one trying to put a stop to it.
was a legal catch.
Right, and then out of bounds, which...
Correct.
I don't see how you don't overturn this and make this a touchdown is what I'm sticking with.
Well, Paul Johnson in his final game as the head coach for Georgia Tech after 11 seasons. And P.J. Fleck in a bowl game for the first time as the Minnesota head coach.
Let's look at this one more time, and what I want to look at is look for a shadow behind that left heel. It looks like there's a shadow that's going on to the sideline, but that foot is not. And there wouldn't be a shadow if the foot was on it. And so I think this detective has solved the crime.
After review, the rolling the field stands. The runner runs out of bounds at the 3-yard line. First down, Minnesota. They will be not charged a timeout as the pager system went off before Minnesota called a timeout.
Okay, we're being told by the replay booth they understand all the points we've made, but they can't call it a touchdown because they can't give him any further yardage for the play being
was blown dead at that point.
Yes.
And so that's basically an inadvertent whistle is what you would have to refer to it as at that point.
Well, the Gophers do have the 1st and goal nonetheless from the 3 and the Wildcat quarterback Seth Green in the game. Ibrahim straight ahead. He makes all the replay nonsense a moot point and says touchdown Minnesota, his first of the night. And for Ibrahim, his 8th rushing touchdown of the year.
Yeah, and I think it's poetic justice that Ibrahim is the one that gets to get into the end zone and get all the claps on the back because he's been outstanding today.
Emmett Carpenter for the extra point. Out of the hole to Jacob Herbers. 20-3 Minnesota midway through this 3rd quarter. Well, it took a while, but it was a long completion as it turned out to Chris Bell to set him up.
And it's a beauty down the sidelines. Didn't quite end up in the end zone, but that don't matter because they've got Ibrahim, and he got himself into the end zone. He's had a great night, and these Gophers are rolling right now.
The Quick Lane Bowl, brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. And Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Ford Field has been the home of the MAC championship game for a number of years. And a couple of years ago in 2016, P.J. Fleck's Western Michigan Broncos won the MAC 29-23 on this field over Frank Solich's Ohio Bobcats. They had quite a season that year.
Yeah, that put them at 13-0. They went down and played Wisconsin
in the Cotton
Bowl and made a good showing of themselves, but didn't come up with a win.
And then he wound up not long after that taking the job with Minnesota. Here in year 2, has them in a bowl game. And they have a 20-3 lead midway through this 3rd quarter. This is going to be a return. Wanye Thomas back in the game. He was shaken up earlier. Gets it out to the 25. Down below to Allison.
As P.J. Fleck makes his return here to Ford Field, it was appropriate that his leader of the week this week for his team was Henry Ford. He uses different analogies and metaphors to deliver his messages to teams. And from Henry Ford, he wanted them to take away the fact that he revolutionized the way we travel, but he didn't have to reinvent or invent anything. He just found ways to do it better. And he talked about the assembly line, everybody in a factory doing their job. He said it can be boring, but boring is good. And he brought it up to me at the half, guys. He said it's like an assembly line today. On defense, everybody's doing their job.
Yeah, they got the assembly line moving pretty well. Here's a throw on first down. Jordan Mason out of the backfield is the intended receiver, as Taquan Marshall taking a shot on first down. Hey, you can stream college football all season long on ESPN Plus. You can start your free trial today by downloading the ESPN app or visiting ESPNplus.com, and you'll be set up for the next football season as well as a lot of other sports on ESPN Plus. again. And a completion to Camp. His second catch of the game, wrapped up by Terrell Smith. Gain of 7. Now down by 17.
Yeah, this is not ideal option conditions right here, and that's why we're not really seeing it right now. You know, we saw the wheel route on the first round on a kind of a bootleg on the fake toss, and a quick pass to the edge. They're out of their comfort zone.
Marshall keeping, running right, turn the corner to the 35, almost the 35. Let's see where they spot this. Really close.
They need the 35 for a first down, and if they don't have it, I wouldn't put it beyond Paul Johnson to go for it here.
And they're marking him short.
Good fight at the end by Marshall of getting actually what he did. Again, that knee is down. He actually got a generous spot.
Yeah. But they're going for it here, so here's a spot. 4th and 1 from their own 34.
All they got to do is quarterback sneak. It's wide open.
Marshall keeping, and he does get enough. By about a half yard, maybe a full yard.
And the Huff twins came up to make the tackle. And that's Jacob and Julian. And combined now, they have 11 tackles on the day. That's pretty good brotherly love coming from those fellas. Nice job. Good push. You know, we talked to Paul Johnson. He said, all we need is a 12-inch push up front, and this option will go. And they got their 12 inches on that one.
Georgia Tech now 2 of 2 on 4th down tonight. Marshall keeping. Spun down at the 41 by Julian Huff. His brother Jacob Huff had a chance to bring him down earlier in that sequence.
It looks like Marshall's going to come up a little bit limping after this one. Got that right leg kind of pulled out from underneath him. But he's in there. He's staying in. And they have a very good backup in Tobias Oliver, who we expected to see at some point during the game.
Oliver, who's been their second leading rusher this year, behind Marshall, who stumbles and loses 3 yards as a result. By the way, the Huff brothers combined 10 tackles. They each have 5. And 1 sack tonight.
Pretty good production from that family in their last game together.
Yeah.
And usually Julian is not a starter. He plays a lot of special teams and gets some time at linebacker. But because Blake Cashman opted out of this game, gives Huff the chance.
Oh, there's a hold. An easy call that time as Terrell Smith had the jersey of Jalen Camp. No question about that.
Yeah, that's the double move burns you. The best next move is to grab a hold of the guy. 10-yard holding ain't going to hurt so much.
Number 4, defense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Terrell Smith is a true freshman.
You can see he had the back of Camp's jersey, and he got beat on that double move. And to me, that's what you have to do. That guy beat you like that, go ahead and grab him. 10 yards on a defensive holding is a lot more palatable than a home run touchdown pass.
First down, Georgia Tech at their 48-yard line. Marshall pitches. This is Cottrell. Nathan Cottrell.
That looked like some option football.
15-yard gain as a result.
All the way to the edge. This is the depth that Marshall gets, enables him to have the proper angle to make this thing work. And he challenges the defender, gets right up on Jordan Howden, and then boom, the pitch comes out and next level goes.
8th first down of the game for Georgia Tech. They're at the 38 of the Gophers. You see the season rushing yards, 335 per game, leading the nation. They're under 100 so far tonight, and not much there for Marshall as Thomas Barber upends him.
Thomas Barber is playing extremely well. And I mean, this is a guy who is so consistent. Led the team with 115 tackles last year. And he's never had a defensive penalty in over 1,300 snaps in his career.
Crazy.
That's a guy who has things buttoned up.
And if the last name sounds familiar, Dad Marion, brother Marion III, of course, great players in their own right. 5 tackles tonight for Thomas Barber. That one's swarmed under. Guess who's right in the middle of that?
Thomas Barber. And I tell you, back in my day, everybody ran the option. And playing linebacker against the option, it's as fun as it gets because you are responsible for dive and then quarterback and then pitch. You get to go get all of them.
Timeout on the field.
50-year senior Gary Moore, one of the defensive tackles for Minnesota, down on the play. We'll step aside.
Don't kid with COVID. Preparedness is key, but overbuying cleaning and health supplies puts others at risk. Please don't buy more than you need. What you do today will affect your family and our community tomorrow.
I don't know why. And in Alabama, of course, I think they're going to run the table on this deal. So I'm going the Fighting Irish against the Crimson Tide for all the marbles.
So rematch from, what was that, 2 years ago? No, I think it was longer than that. Time goes fast.
That's right. It was 4 years ago. 5, 6, I don't know. It's a rematch.
6 years ago. 10th play of the drive here on 3rd down and long. Marshall wrapped up at the 28 by Keandre Thomas and Winston Delatibadair.
And that is a heck of a play right there. And they got 9 of the 10 they needed to move these chains. Now they'll face another 4th and short here unless they decide to measure this thing, and maybe they got it, but they're going to say 4th down. That was a huge play, getting them in a much better situation to convert and continue this drive, their best and longest drive of the day.
They converted a 4th down earlier on this possession, and they're 2 for 2 on 4th down tonight. It's 4th and less than a yard.
And it sneaks open again. Now they've changed it. Minnesota shuffles down right over the center.
And that is enough for the 1st down. But you saw number 20, Julian Huff, come flying in there.
You know, you got to give Marshall a lot of credit because Minnesota moved their 2 nose tackles into one on each shoulder of that quarterback. So what does he do? He sneaks around him. Got a down block from his right guard, Connor Hansen, and just looped around and got the yardage.
So the Yellow Jackets convert on 4th down. And on 1st down, Marshall ends up going straight ahead for about 3 or 4. Delatibadair again there for the tackle.
And you see these offensive linemen from Georgia Tech. A big part of the option is cutting people. And Al Johnson was very sensitive about that in that regard because it's one of the criticisms that he's taken with this offense. But the way they do it, it's a legal play in college football the way things are right now. So I don't see what the complaints are about.
Marshall spinning down just outside the 20. It'll be a little over 4 yards away with a 3rd and 4. Coming in the clock running under a minute and a half to go in the 3rd.
One of the most difficult things about preparing to play this offense, Mark, is to actually simulate those cut techniques in practice. And you really don't want to have guys chopping at your starters' knees all week. But that's what Minnesota did. And in fact, Coach Rossi said that's what he believes in, and they cut people all week live in practice.
14th play of the drive. There's the pitch, and there's Cottrell. And Georgia Tech finds the end zone for the 1st time tonight. 4th rushing touchdown of the year for Nathan Cottrell, and Georgia Tech badly needed that.
This is very well executed. This is vintage triple option right there. You got the fake to the dive to the quarterback. The quick pitch. They tried to smoke the quarterback on him. He got it out to the edge and got a great block. It looked like from the edge man, Andrew Marshall, number 50.
Some say Cottrell the fastest guy on the team, or one of the fastest for sure. 20-yard touchdown run makes it 20-10. see a call missed with a face mask.
Well, let's take a look. There's the big block I was talking about right there with Andrew Marshall.
Cottrell into the end zone for the touchdown.
I'm going to say that's a nice little football play.
I knew you would say that. But Georgia Tech had to have that rated for this football game.
No doubt. And they still have a chance now. I mean, we're a 10-point ball game, a whole quarter left to play, plus the 55 seconds here in the third. Maybe that snapped them too. Another thing, we haven't seen any turnovers yet in this ball game, and they're usually good that you'll see one or two of those.
Davis to kick off. Demetrius Douglas back to receive this. Paul Johnson right in the middle of that huddle in his final game as the Georgia Tech head coach decides to take a knee. Well, we have 3 more bowl games for you tomorrow on ESPN. First at 1:30 Eastern. Temple and Duke, Jeff Collins' old team, in the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl from Shreveport. Then at 5:15, Miami and Wisconsin in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl from Yankee Stadium. And at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, finish it off with Baylor battling Vandy in the Academy Sports and Outdoors Texas Bowl. Hopefully the weather's a little better in Texas tomorrow. All 3 games live on the ESPN apps, so you can watch anywhere.
Sounds like a nice little Thursday to me.
Great Thursday. You know that Boston College Boise State game that was canceled today, first bowl game to ever suffer that fate.
College All-Star Bowl did one time.
Nothing there. Ibrahim, he loses 2 yards.
It's because Jordan Howden, the safety, shot through the gap and got up in there and made a play. Actually, I take that back. That's Jalen Johnson who made that play.
But it's a Georgia Tech defense that after their offense just put up their first touchdown of the game would love to have a quick
that would be
out here.
They might start getting excited because I really haven't seen a whole lot of excitement out of them.
Ibrahim.
That's exciting.
Says don't get excited because I'm flashing down the sideline and may be gone. They catch up to him at the 20. Mohamed Ibrahim with a 56-yard run.
That was a huge hole. I got to think somebody made a mistake on defense. And then a great block by Chris Altman-Bell. The receiver comes in. He cleans up the safety. And that allowed Ibrahim to get that extra push down the field.
That's Askew who was down. Jalen Askew for Georgia Tech. That 58-yard run officially for Ibrahim takes us to the end of the third quarter, and Ibrahim now has 179 rush yards.
Yeah, and he got a great block. Watch Altman-Bell come in and clean up right there. Boom, and that opened it up on the edge. And Ibrahim off to the races.
Big Ten matchup, and Minnesota leading Georgia Tech 20-10 in what is the final game as head coach at Georgia Tech for Paul Johnson after 11 seasons.
And he needs his defense to hold here the Gophers to a field goal attempt. A touchdown would not be good.
Jonathan Fibby-Cole in the backfield to start the quarter, and he blocks for Seth Green. The Wildcat, he's all the way up near the 10.
Got to give some credit to this Minnesota offensive line, and it's led by their 5th-year senior, the center, Jared Weiler. Interestingly, Weiler calls all the running plays up there. And the young freshman quarterbacks, they'll do the protection, and sometimes he'll help with that, but he's in charge of the running game. This guy, he's getting ready to take his CPA exam. He knows numbers. He knows what's going on. Coach said he's one of the smartest guys. He would definitely have him take care of his business.
And the glue on that offensive line. Ibrahim to the 5. This is a career high now in rushing yardage in a single game for Mohamed Ibrahim. His previous career high was 157 at Ohio State this year in mid-October. He's at 183 rushing yards right now.
And he's done it just about every way you would want to see it done. When he's run over people, he's run around them. He's kept the legs churning even though he looked like he was down several times. Kids played outstanding tonight. I get a vote on most valuable player. He's got the lead right now.
I think I have one of those votes, and I'm in the same camp with you right now.
Okay, good, because I hate to have to cancel yours out.
Ibrahim gets close, but is barely kept out of the end zone.
Running right up the gut behind Jared Weiler, that big center who makes the calls. Got in behind him and got real close. Took a nice shot at the end.
He did take a hard shot.
Doesn't seem fazed by it.
He had a 3-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. Let's see if they give it right back to him.
Well, they got Seth Green in there. They might want to get him on the board.
Colton Beebe in there, tied in. Give it to Ibrahim. He won't get there. In fact, he'll lose a little bit. He loses about a half-yard. Desmond Branch, number 99, the defensive end, 5th-year senior, kept him out of the end zone.
Getting off the bottom of that pile. But that play, that was one where I believe Seth Green should have pulled that football. I think he would agree with me. But he won. I believe there's a part of them they want Ibrahim to get the touchdown. I mean, he's carried him throughout the drive and the day. I didn't get a little of the glory. In fact, they bring Morgan back in.
And they got Green staying in the game as a wide receiver, split wide right. Georgia Tech badly needs to keep him out of the end zone. Can they? Ibrahim says no with his 2nd rushing touchdown of the game to make this a 3-score game. 1-yard touchdown run for Mohamed Ibrahim.
And it's been all about him. And this one, he didn't even have to sweat it on this one. Watch this hole open up for him. Really nice block there. The big right tackle we've talked about. Lele all day. The 400-pounder. He got them big cheeks in the way, and there was nothing but air for the back Ibrahim to go through.
It's the extra point that makes this a 3-score game now. 17-point lead, 27-10 for Minnesota with almost 3 minutes gone in the 4th quarter. Ibrahim, what a game. 189 rushing yards for a new career high. Minnesota 27, Georgia Tech 10, 12:07 to play 4th quarter from Ford Field in Detroit. And you can watch like a fan all bowl season long with YouTube TV as we look at the upcoming slate of games here on ESPN, including the one coming up after us between Cal and TCU from Chase Field in Phoenix. And then tomorrow, we've got the bowl game from Shreveport, the Independence Bowl from Yankee Stadium. And also Baylor and Vandy going at it all on ESPN tomorrow.
'Tis the season.
Yeah, bowl season really kicks in a high gear, really as of today. This will be returned from the 3-yard line. All the way up to the 25. It's Bruce Jordan Swilling. So 12 minutes to go, and Georgia Tech down by 17. Flag on the return.
During the return, holding, number 25, return team. That 10-yard penalty will be enforced for the end of the run. 1st down, Georgia Tech.
Got Trey Jackson on that one. So Tech will have to start in unenviable field position. Now, the last time they had the football, they moved down the field. We saw some nice plays on this option. They started getting the pitch going. They actually had 3 pitches for 34 yards and a touchdown on the last drive.
It looks like the final quarter is head coach at Georgia Tech, Paul Johnson, who's not saying it's a retirement. I mean, there's a chance he could come back to coach at some point. He says he'll see how things go with a year away from the game.
Yeah, so he just needed a break. Felt like it was time. He's been at it for about 40 years.
Marshall caught in stride. Quay Searcy all the way down near the 30-yard line of Minnesota. 42-yard pickup.
And there's pressure initially. But this is an option pass. The first time they run play action off of option, you see Barber just lay out Marshall. But here's the route on the outside, and it's just a simple little inside post going straight down the field, and the free safety got confused. He got turned around, and that's what made that play go. Pretty good throw, too.
Yeah, great throw. They spotted it at the 33, so it's officially a 51-yard pass play. Brad Stewart with his first catch, or not. No, they're saying incomplete.
Well, Stewart doesn't agree with him, but I'd have to take another look myself.
He's their leading pass catcher with 15 catches this year.
Second down.
We'll take another look at it ourselves. And does this ball hit the ground?
Yep. Oh, yeah, that's incomplete.
Good call by the officials.
First time they've targeted Brad Stewart. As Marshall keeping. He brought down at the 27.
And we were talking to Paul Johnson, Mark, before the game, and I asked him how he got into the option. He says, you know, the funny thing is he was running a run and shoot offense at that time.
Georgia Southern for Irv Russell.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, this ain't working. They were getting crushed. So he says, I'm going to bring back that double tight formation. He goes, oh, no. He goes, but I'm going to run the option out of it. And I said, okay, let's see what happens. Well, what happened was he got Coach of the Year and won an FCS title. And the rest, as they say, is history.
They won a couple of what were then called 1AA, now FCS national championships at Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern still running the option.
Yes, they haven't quit. It's a dying offense, that option. Well, back when I was in high school, we ran the veer. This was the late 70s, and everybody ran option. I mean, you were considered crazy if you didn't.
You see him sitting in the play with Cottrell. This is a 4th down and 4. They've converted all 3 of their 4th down attempts tonight.
See if they want to get that pitch to the edge again, although they go 3 receivers in this look.
Marshall wants to put it up. Here comes some pressure. He's throwing towards the end zone. And Stewart, it's a jump ball. Incomplete. And Minnesota will take over on downs. Back at the 27.
That was nothing more than a prayer right there. Throwing it up 50-50, hoping your guy can come down with it. That's one of the problems of this option offense is when you get in those situations and you got to lob one up like that. This is often the result.
Jump ball knocked away. Minnesota ball when we come back to Detroit.
The Quick Lane Bowl, brought to you by Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center, offering extraordinary service for routine maintenance. Quick Lane and Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Those are some shots from the 2014 Capital One Orange Bowl. Georgia Tech beat Mississippi State 49-34. Capping off an 11-3 season. And Paul Johnson stepping away after this game as the head coach at Georgia Tech. Says he'd like to spend some time with wife Susan. His daughter Caitlin is a very prolific opera singer. We get a chance, more chances to hear her sing and spend time with the family. But don't think that this is the end for football, do you, right?
He didn't. He definitely did not put a stamp on the end of it. In fact, he said if he likes retirement, then that'll be great. But if he doesn't, he's not saying he's not getting back into coaching at some point. He's just taking a break, seeing how it feels at this point, because he hasn't done anything else as an adult.
Allison has more down below.
And guys, I loved how candid he was. He said, I've been doing this for 40 years. I've never had a break. Might as well see if I like it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll be bored and I miss football, but I won't know until I try it. And he said, I felt like if I was thinking about taking a break and stepping away, that meant that it was the right thing to do. It meant he wasn't 100% into this anymore, but he was very candid in saying that he could just be stepping away and could make a return to football because, frankly, he doesn't know.
Yeah, Allison Ray, I'm sure you remember our conversation with him earlier in the week. And here's Ibrahim down the sideline to midfield and more. Push him out at about the 42. He even kind of mentioned broadcasting, didn't he? Did you guys hear the same thing I did? Yeah, maybe that's an option.
Yeah, he said, I might do what you folks do. And I wish him the best at it. It'd be interesting to hear his perspective.
Yeah. Well, with that run by Ibrahim, he's now at 220 yards. That was a 33-yard pickup. He's the first Gopher over 200 yards in a game since September 20th, 2014. David Cobb had 207 against San Jose State. We're talking a couple hundred yards for Ibrahim. Green in there is the Wildcat quarterback, and he's going to keep it. Step outside to the sideline. And ushered out at about the 33 by Lamont Simmons. Well, the ESPN and the ACC will bring you the ACC network next year in August. 15 universities, one network. You can visit getaccin.com to learn more. It goes on the air August 22nd. The first ACC football game, August 29th, Georgia Tech against Clemson.
Well, that's the way to kick it off with a bang.
And new coach Jeff Collins. It's a pretty stiff test at game one.
Yeah, right.
Right out of the chute. Ibrahim falls forward for a first down to the 29, tripped up by Brant Mitchell.
And this has been an ideal offensive game for Minnesota. And I got to say, Kurt Shiraka, their offensive coordinator, he dialed up a really nice plan. And they protected the young quarterback. Tanner Morgan did not have to be the star of this game. They took advantage of that offensive line that's really coming together. And they have rushed the football all up and down the field with Ibrahim today.
And interim and now regular defensive coordinator Joe Rossi on that defensive side. Done a nice job at defense that over the last 4 games now under his tutelage have really responded. Cut opponent point production down significantly. Loss of a yard.
And you got to give P.J. Fleck his share of credit too for getting things going early in the year. When they started Big Ten play, they went 1-5 out the blocks, and it was not looking good at all. And somehow they rallied it together. They improved. I think the quarterback situation settled when Tanner Morgan came in, and they turned this thing around, and it's almost a different football team.
Morgan to the end zone. The adjustment to catch Johnson. Wow. His second touchdown catch of the game, and they've both been extremely impressive grabs.
His body control, his understanding of time and space. I mean, he knew where the defender was. He saw where the ball was coming. He says, "I'll put the brakes on, and this one will be right in my basket." And boom, there it goes again. Now, the previous touchdown, it was the opposite, where he shielded the defender with his back and then made the catch. This kid's a magician out there.
Couple of touchdowns, 4 catches, 6 times he's been targeted tonight. And the extra point makes it 34-10. Tyler Johnson showing why there's going to be a lot of folks wondering if he's going to come out early.
Yeah, he looked like an NFL guy on this one, using that body, understanding where things are, and bringing it home.
Hanging out at home probably like the rest of you.
But I've learned a lot about wood floors.
Tonight we got batting cage challenge.
As you can see, the Monopoly board is set up with a lot of hotels.
I'm gonna make the pancakes. Grace is gonna make the eggs.
You two are going to love the cupcakes.
Just gonna check on the homeschool crew and make sure everything's going okay here.
Stay strong, parents. We're gonna get this done.
All we can control is right now and trying to maximize our days the best we can.
I'm just so grateful for family, for friends, for loved ones, and the Big Ten.
Be a coach. Be a teammate.
Be a friend. Be a teacher.
Be a family.
We are a team.
We are a team.
We are a family.
We got this.
We got this.
We can do this.
We can do this.
Going to be a great New Year's Day. All 3 games available as well on the ESPN app. Minnesota in control, 34-10 over Georgia Tech in the quick lane bowl from Detroit. And the return, Bruce Jordan Swilling still on his feet, but then swarmed under at the 19. And let's take a look back with our great clips drive recap. Ray, this was an important drive for Minnesota, kind of the drive that really cemented this game.
Yeah, and it got started by an Ibrahim run to get things rolling and then soften them up. And then they go down the field. We had a little controversy on this play, but nonetheless, it was called a good catch at the 3-yard line and then capped off by that Ibrahim touchdown run.
Tobias Oliver into the game now, quarterback for Georgia Tech. His first appearance of the night. A guy, though, second on the team in rushing to Marshall with 807 rushing yards this year and leading the team with 12 rushing touchdowns. And Oliver promptly throws the ball and overthrows Quade Searcy.
Yeah, let it rip a little too much on that one, but he's been a really good backup for this outfit. And you know, Marshall had some problems, injury type things, and they brought him in, and Oliver did a great job. He started against Virginia Tech and ran the ball 40 times for 215 yards. And that is a heck of a job by a backup quarterback stepping in to get something done.
Well, that pass attempt we just saw was just his 14th pass attempt of the season. And Oliver will keep it. Lowers his shoulder and gets up near a first down to the 29. Tackled by Keandre Thomas in an 8-yard gain.
I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised it took him this long to give Oliver a shot, because he's been a kind of an energy injection for this offense when he does come in there. I would have expected maybe a bit of an earlier deal for him, but you got a senior playing quarterback for you. You want to give him a fair chance too, so I get it.
Final game for Marshall. The only game Oliver has not played in this year was game 3 of the season at Pittsburgh, which was the ACC conference opener for Georgia Tech. Again, kept in a first down run for Oliver across the 35.
He's got some quick feet too. He's got a great feel for this option offense. And the question I have, as a redshirt freshman, and with Jeff Collins coming in and running a completely different offense, how will Tobias Oliver fit into that? Is he even going to give that a shot, or will he look to move to an option school? I don't know. The coaches tell us they think he'll adapt just fine.
One of many questions that will be asked, and we'll see how quickly they're answered. Jeff Collins takes over officially tomorrow, and here's Oliver with the run, and
get some limp leg in there.
Gave the little jelly leg fake there.
Right? He had me jelly legging up here. Watch it.
It's a 27-yard run, another first down.
All right, watch these jelly legs. This is some good open field stuff. Guy's about 20 yards away. I'm gonna shake a leg on him. I love it.
First down inside the 40. Tobias Oliver, a redshirt freshman out of Warner Robins, Georgia. A guy who played at Northside High School in Warner Robins, was really a high school rival of Jake Fromm, the Georgia quarterback. Tackle for Boye Mafe.
Mafe's had a good game too. We've seen him fly around the field and make some tackles, and he's another redshirt freshman. You look at this, the youth on this team is no joke, and the way they improved at the end of the year, they're my dark horse in the Big Ten next year. I think they got some things rolling now.
We're going to go to a 7-6 record. The bowl win here. After going 3-6 in conference play. Oliver brought down there by Julian Huff.
What a great play by Julian Huff. He gets cut in the hole, but pops up in the air and makes that tackle.
We can stick around for the post-game trophy ceremony. Brought to you by Capital One. That is on the ESPN app immediately following the games. Minnesota looking to win their 3rd consecutive bowl appearance. They won the Quick Lane Bowl here in 2015, beating Central Michigan. Then the last bowl appearance prior to tonight was the 2016 Holiday Bowl when they beat Washington State. Here's Jerry Howard with the catch. It'll be the first time they've won 3 consecutive bowl games since head coach Glenn Mason in Minnesota won 3 consecutive bowl games in 2002, 2003, and 2004. They beat Alabama in 04. So we're looking for win number 3 in a row in bowl appearances for Minnesota.
Yeah, you can't say they didn't come here to play today. There's no question about it. They started it being physical right from the beginning. That running game, the offensive line. They got a couple good skilled players that are flying around on defense. It's a good look.
Oliver looking to run again, and he's going to have another first down. Down the sideline, they'll mark him out near the 20. And I know a lot of this, Ray, has to do with the time and score of this game. But Tobias Oliver has come in and represented himself very well here.
Yeah, he's been very effective in this drive, and this is still the starting unit for this Minnesota Golden Gopher defense. So it's not like they changed guys out there for him.
Georgia Tech going to finish at 7-6 this year after a 5-3 conference finish. Went second in the Coastal behind Pitt. Towards the end zone. Cersei. Incomplete. The defender, Jordan Houghton, didn't see the ball coming. And
it looked like it hit Houghton on the backside.
Sports Center tonight, coming up after the Cheez-It Bowl with Bucci and Michael Leaves. They'll have highlights from the first games of the home-and-home between the Pelicans and Mavs. Also, an inside look at the Colts-Titans elimination game. And Trevor Mannix will join the show to preview the college football playoff semifinals. Sports Center after Cal TCU here on ESPN and the ESPN app. Oliver kicking it outside, but then he is run down by Boye Mafe.
Mafe making another play.
Timeout, Georgia Tech.
6th tackle of the day for Mafe.
Georgia Tech will use their first timeout with just 1:38 to play. Mafe is a Minneapolis area kid from Minnetonka, Minnesota at Hopkins High School. Hey, this Saturday, December 29th, we'll kick off one of the college football great days. Noon Eastern, the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Number 10 Florida, number 7 Michigan at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Gators are 0-4 all time against the Wolverines. This one's on ESPN and the ESPN app, and you can watch it anywhere.
I understand Michigan is going to be down 4 starters in that game. See what happens.
34-10, Minnesota. Minute 38 away from winning the 2018 Quick Lane Bowl. Oliver scrambling. Still looking. Now will run with it. Be upended about the 10-yard line by Julian Huff.
Great hustle play from Huff. He was halfway across the field, hit the gas pedal. I didn't think he could get there. Boy, he got there quick.
Well, Mohamed Ibrahim has certainly been the MVP with 224 rushing yards. But the Huff brothers, if there was the 1A and the 1B, the Huff brothers would be 1B, wouldn't they?
Yeah, Julian with 8 tackles and a sack and a tackle for loss. And then Jacob, 8 tackles. So the Huff brothers getting it done.
4th and 1. Lost the football. Minnesota's got it. And guess who has it? I think that's number 20.
Put another check mark in that stat.
That is Julian Huff.
Rolling on the field is a fumble recovered by Minnesota.
He would like to. Hey, you sure I can't have that?
He had a sack and an interception in his last game against Wisconsin. He's been languishing on the bench. Maybe this guy should have had a little more play time. The way he's been able to perform and come up with plays. And I mean, that's a lucky dog play, but someone's got to do it.
But Julian Huff, as you mentioned right at the top of the telecast, really playing because Blake Cashman elected to bypass the bowl game.
Right.
And has Julian Huff stepped up or what?
He has big time. And you know what? Good for you, Julian Huff. I personally don't understand the not finishing a season with your team. I don't get it now. Maybe someone could explain it to me someday. I don't know.
There are some that certainly would disagree with you. Guys looking out for their pro futures.
Sure,
but,
I'd love to hear all about it.
But I know from your era that's an unpopular.
That's not the way we did it. I know that. It's unfortunate, I think.
But the football world changes.
It means the bowl season. Not only that, but whatever. How about this guy today? Mohamed Ibrahim. Running people over and just keeps going. He's one of those, it's like Rocky Balboa in the 15th round. Hit me again because I love it. He's taking it into the house. Got a nose for the goal line, the end zone as well. 224 yards, season high and career high for Ibrahim.
And he is tonight's Capital One Player of the Game. Tack on a couple of touchdowns as well. Ray mentioned the career high rushes and rushing yards, averaging over 7 yards a carry tonight, and helping carry his team to a Quick Lane Bowl victory.
If they had 5 little smaller trophies, I'd give them to that offensive line too, because those guys have been really good all night.
So they've been in the victory formation, and that's going to take care of things. From Detroit, Minnesota, P.J. Fleck gets his first bowl win as Gophers head coach as they down Georgia Tech 34-10.
Job well done.
And Paul Johnson, that's a handshake for Coach Fleck as Paul Johnson's tenure after 11 seasons as the Georgia Tech head coach comes to an end. And what a terrific coach, terrific man, and we wish him the best.
Yeah, I mean, he's nothing but class, and known Paul over the years, and he's treated us nothing but good and done a heck of a job in a tough place to win, but he's done it.
So he coaches his final game as the Tech head coach. And Allison's down with the winning head coach, P.J. Fleck.
Thank you, Mark. PJ, what led to such an elite performance by your team today?
Well, it's all about preparation. You know, you got to give Georgia Tech a lot of credit. They're a really good football team, very well coached, and we just want to wish Coach Johnson the very best in his future as he left his legacy on college football for sure. Very difficult to prepare for the triple option, especially when we don't face it very often. It's not in our conference. But I thought Joe Rossi, our entire defense staff, did a great job. Our offense, just with 8 freshmen starting tonight, you know, just shows a lot about the character of this football team, their grittiness, and their perseverance throughout the entire year. So, you know, we could have been better in a lot of areas, but I'm really proud of them. We tackled well, they did their job, and they played with incredible how.
You mentioned the difficulty of getting ready to face the Georgia Tech offense, and you had to do so without several starters on defense. How would you describe the effort that it took for guys to step up?
Well, first of all, we're proud of our guys moving on to the National Football League. If that's a decision they make, we want to make that something here that we want to be able to create that NFL experience. If you have an opportunity to leave and you want to do that, we'll support you 100% anyway, that you want to stay or go. But it just shows the depth we're starting to form on this team. There's a lot of young guys that played tonight. We got a lot of seniors who have left a champion. We said at the beginning of the year that we can find a way to be a champion. And we're sitting 3-4. I said, guys, just continue to keep your oar in the water. You got a chance to be a champion, and that's what Row the Boat's all about.
You do that, and you end the season winning 2 in a row. You get the Gatorade bath here in the Quick Lane Bowl. How special is this win for you and for your program going forward?
Well, it's so special for everybody. Our state of Minnesota, for the Twin City area, our university, our new president coming, which is very, very exciting. But again, it just shows the perseverance of this football team. You know, we're the youngest team in America. To be able to do what they did and finish as strong as they did, it's a tip of the cap to them. So congratulations on Ty Johnson. I know he got a big record tonight. But again, we wanted to send our seniors off the right way. And a lot of these guys have played for 3 different head coaches. Yeah. It's very difficult to do. They stuck it out. We always say those who stay will be champions. We're bowl champions, so we're really excited.
Coach Fleck, enjoy it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Row the boat, Sky Mile, go Gophers.
Allison, thanks very much, Ray. Coach Fleck had him ready to play tonight.
He did. And congratulations to Minnesota and the way they got it done. And congratulations to Paul Johnson and a tremendous career at Georgia Tech. And who knows, maybe we'll see him again someday.
Cal TCU coming up a little bit later, but the college football scoreboard is coming up straight ahead. That's going to take care of things. From Ford Field in Detroit, they hand the trophy over to P.J. Fleck and the Gophers. For Ray Bentley, Allison Williams, and our entire outstanding ESPN crew, I'm Mark Neely saying so long. From Ford Field in Detroit, again, Minnesota wins it over Georgia Tech, 34-10.
you.